Yo, what's going on, dudes? HK Titan here with a brand new video for you guys, and in today's video I have a banger plan for you guys because we're going to be checking out the brand new 41.0 update. So in this video we're going to be testing out the brand new monkey sub Paragon and seeing what it's all about. On top of that, we're going to be covering the balance changes and a bunch of changes in Bloons BTD6. So because we already covered a majority of the things that Ninja Kiwi added in the new update, we're just going to be doing a brief summary of all of the new content. So of course we do have the brand new monkey sub Paragon, the Nautic siege core. On top of that, we also have a new intermediate map, Sulfer Springs. On top of that, we have 3 new quests. We have the Pat Busty hero test, the Psy hero test, as well as the Moab Madness, still greater and even better. Of course, as always with every update, we do have a couple of new trophy store items, which is always fun to see. Additionally, we have a couple of massive game changes, mainly to do with Apocalypse as well as chimps. So for Apocalypse mode, now Apocalypse mode grants end of round cash. So now you're going to be able to make so much more money in Apocalypse, and it's going to make the game mode so much more easy. And of course, with the chimps game mode, now if you end up losing while you're playing chimps, there is a retry last round option. So if your strategy didn't work, you can always go through and revise it in order to get your gold border. There's also a main menu search function now. So if you guys are looking for something in Bloons BTD6, with all the new content that Ninja Kiwi added to the game, this is going to be so much faster. And of course, there is a lot of new content with the map editor. There is a brand new pack that costs 2,500 monkey money. That being said, if you guys are short on monkey money, make sure you guys use code HK Titan in the BT6 shop because it really helps me out. And of course, if you guys are curious about all of the new props and stuff that they added in this update, I went ahead and laid everything out for you guys. That way you guys can go ahead and get an idea of what we have to work with now. And of course, I'm super excited because now we have so many more colors to work with. So I'm looking forward to all of the new creations that I'm going to see in the BT6 map browser. Now let's move on to some tower balance changes. So first off, the Spike Paul ended up getting a pretty nice buff, doubling its damage. The Boomerang Monkey ended up getting a massive price decrease, as well as a lot of nerfs and buffs. So the Glaive Ricochet no longer costs $1,200, but the price was slashed in half from $1,200 to $600. Which is going to be so cool because now we can afford to buy the tier 3 Glaive Ricochet at a much earlier round. But because the price is massively decreased, the Pierce as well as the damage is going to be nerfed, and the Mort Glaives also got a pretty big pierce reduction as well. The tier 4 bomb shooters also had a pretty big price decrease as well. The glue gunner got a pretty big rework as well. Now I think Ninja Kiwi ended up doing a massive rework to the bottom pathway glue. Now there's a lot in the patch notes, so it's definitely a tower that we're going to have to try out because it looks like it's a pretty big buff. I almost want to say that the bottom pathway super glue is going to be a viable attacking tower now. The Sniper Monkey also had a lot of price reworks as well. I'm not going to go over all of the different prices, but there was a lot of ups and downs for the Sniper Monkey, making some of the tier 2s and tier 3s much more affordable at a lower round. The Monkey Sub also had a pretty big rework as well, mainly to do with the top pathway Monkey Sub. And also the middle pathway Ballistic Missile also had a pretty big nerf in this update. Moving on, the top pathway Monkey Buccaneer had a massive rework as well. So now all of the mini planes do a lot more damage, as well as they stack with the middle pathway. This is another one of the towers that we're gonna have to try out. I have a feeling that the top pathway Monkey Buccaneer is gonna be a pretty solid tower now, but then again, it's always been a pretty solid tower. Now the Monkey Ace also had a couple of price changes, as well as a little bit of a nerf and buff. And the thing that I'm most excited about the Monkey Ace is that the 003 Never Miss ended up getting a pretty big price drop from $2,800 down to $2,550. Moving on to the Mortar Monkey. The Mortar Monkey, the top pathway tier 4, had a massive price decrease from $8,000 to $6,500. And this is going to allow us to afford the big one at a much earlier round. But there were a couple of nerfs to the Mortar Monkey as well, mainly to the middle pathway. The Wizard Monkey Paragon ended up getting a pretty big nerf in this update. I'm not exactly sure why they nerfed it this much, but it is a pretty massive nerf from everything that I see here. So it's definitely something that we're going to have to test out in the future. The top pathway tier 1 and tier 2 Super Monkey had a pretty big price nerf. The tier 1 going from $2,500 down to $2,000, and the tier 2 going from $3,000 down to $2,500. So this is going to make it the top pathway Super Monkey a lot more affordable in game modes. But the middle pathway Super Monkey, the Super Range, and Epic Range did have a price increase, which is kind of unfortunate, but at the same time, it's not that bad. So in this update, the middle pathway Spike Factory ended up getting a nerf, which is something that I saw coming because, I mean, the last update ended up buffing the middle pathway Spike Factory a lot. Now, there are a couple of changes with the Engineer Monkey, mainly the top pathway as well as the middle pathway. Now, it doesn't seem to be like a game-changing changes, but it's definitely something that we're going to have to try out. I'm really interested in the middle pathway because it looks like the middle pathway Ultra Boost is going to end up doing a little bit more damage, as well as it looks like the Ultra Boost is going to last for a little bit longer. Now, there are a lot of changes with the Beast Handlers, so the Beast Handler is another one of the towers that we're definitely going to have to check out in this update as well. So it looks like Gwendolyn had a pretty big buff in this update, which is super upsetting because we literally just got done testing out Gwendolyn to see what round she could make it to. So now I'm going to have to go through and I'm going to have to retest her again. So it looks like Striker Jones had a little bit of a change as well. And it looks like the level 8 Striker Jones now increases the range of all towers within its range. But then again, I could be reading this wrong, but I think that's exactly what it's saying right here. So this is another thing that we're definitely going to have to test out, because if Striker Jones actually buffs the range of other towers, he's going to be a much more viable hero to use in all game modes. So moving on, it looks like Oben had a pretty big buff as well. So now at level 4, Oben should be able to drop down 5 of his Nature Ward totems, which, in case you guys were wondering, those are the totems that end up slowing down balloons. As well as Oben's level 20 Wall of Trees had a pretty big cooldown reduction from 90 seconds to 75 seconds. Up next, it looks like Admiral Brickle ended up getting a pretty big buff as well, mainly with her revolver. Her revolver does so much more damage now, especially once she levels up to level 17, increasing her damage from 18 to 40. So now I'm gonna have to test out Brickle Pickle as well, because that is like double the damage from her revolver, which is insane. So there are a couple of changes with Corvus as well. Now, it doesn't look like there's anything that'll end up like massively buffing or nerfing him, but the big ones that I see is that the Echo cooldown, so where he's able to summon 2 of his ghosts, its cooldown has been increased from 45 seconds to 55 seconds. As well as his level 4 trample now has increased damage, which I honestly think that the damage should be increased even more, because they only increased it from 12 to 15. On top of that, his Ancestral Might and his Overload ended up getting a massive nerf in this update. Mainly his level 20 Overload, its damage has been cut in half from 8,000 to 4,000. Now, those are a majority of the major nerfs and buffs that came in this 41.0 update. Now I want to talk about a couple of things that should be coming sometime this year. The first big one is going to be the player creator system, which is going to allow the players who create maps, challenges, and Odyssey events, it'll allow them to actually make money in Bloons TD6. So if you're someone out there who really enjoys creating maps, such as myself, or if you like creating challenges, or if you like creating Odyssey events, now people will actually be able to give you accolades, which will actually give you money, kind of similar to Roblox and Fortnite. At least that's what I'm getting from the patch notes. The next thing that I'm really looking forward to is we are going to be getting a brand new hero. And guys, I'm already super excited about this hero because it's going to be our first flying hero. And I'm not talking about Etienne with his drone, but this hero is going to have a jetpack. On top of that, he's also going to have 2 different types of weapons to choose from as well. And then not only are we getting a new hero this year, but we're also going to be getting a new monkey tower. And this new tower I'm super excited for because it's going to be a new water tower. Now, the new tower is going to be a non-military water type tower. And judging from what I see in the patch notes, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a mermaid monkey. Now, as far as what it's going to do, I'm not exactly sure yet, but it may end up being a new support-based water tower. And then, of course, another big thing that I'm looking forward to is going to be the game editor. So from what I see right now, it's going to be a really bare bones addition to Bloons TD6, which is going to allow you to like change damage types and just like mess around with Bloons TD6 in general. Now, I don't think it's going to be like a full integration of mods yet, but I think it's going to be the first iteration of incorporating modding in Bloons TD6. Now, finally, looking at the monkey sub Paragon, to be honest, it's a little underwhelming for a Paragon, but then again, I really wasn't expecting too much because it is a really cheap Paragon. Now, one thing I'm not too keen on is the 15-second cooldown on his ability, because it just takes so long to launch his nukes. So unless you're playing on a custom map, the monkey sub Paragon ability is kind of lackluster because you're not really going to be able to use it. So hopefully that's something that Ninja Kiwi changes in the future. So instead of like 15 seconds, I think 10 or 8 seconds is a little bit more of a reasonable time. But it is really cool watching that countdown timer tick. But anyways, dudes, that's going to do it for the video. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure you guys hit that like button. Also, if you guys are new around here, don't forget to subscribe as well, because I do upload quite a bit of Bloons BTD6 content. But anyways, dudes, again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.